Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fawn Pod. It's friends occasionally not disagreeing. Recording here on Easter today. This is Cody, and I have Brett with me, and we're here to talk about that lovely rebirth that happens every so many years on this particular day. Mario's back with a new movie, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But let's see, what have you been up to, Brett, since last week?
Well, I mean, no matter how many times I do it, which I mean, honestly isn't that many, isn't that often, but every time I buy tickets, it is a stressful experience. Um, this time well, last week we were made aware of Muse coming out with a North American tour this year, and so that's one of the bands that my wife and I have both have kind of like on our band bucket list, and so made plans. We're gonna be ready. We got our pre-sale code, signed up for that, and we're sitting there, and of course it's like 10 a.m. So I'm at work, and my wife's like at home working from home, and we're like trying to like talk and like coordinate this, and like we're both gonna try and get tickets, but then like one of us has to call the other one off if we have tickets in hand,
Yeah, right.
so that we don't buy too many. Um, and yeah, it was stressful, but in the end we got two tickets to the Detroit show. So we'll be seeing Muse this year, which is great because we that's one of the bands that we've been looking forward to for a while. Uh, but man, I was and then after I got the tickets, uh I looked and I like had to do like a triple check because I was concerned that I'd only bought one ticket instead of two.
Oh no.
And that would have been really bad. But I've since like looked at the ticket purchase like 10 times just to make sure. But we should be good. But man, it's just stressful every time. Um, but beyond that, last night we wrapped up the new season of Jury Duty, which is on Amazon. Um, it was another really great season overall. Really funny. Just the guy that they cast to be like behind the scenes they call this person the hero, the one who's not an actor. Uh, but he really was like a hero. He's such a good guy.
Hmm.
Just like when it was all done, like everybody was like, hugging him and so kind with him and stuff. And um it was a really another really great season. I would definitely would you know word failing me, but I would go check that out. It was really fun.
Super cool. Well, let's see. Since I wasn't on the podcast last week, I had a week off. I was in Cincinnati to watch the Red Sox lose another game that they've lost this season, which is all but two. So it's been a
Oh
great
no.
start to baseball so far this year. They were going to head today 6-4 or 4-0 at one point and still managed to lose 8-6. So,
Oh.
um, yeah, first time I've been to Cincinnati, though. It's just the city that's not too far away, but I've never been to. So it was kind of interesting to see that. Beyond that, over here, I have been watching some TV as well. It's still season one, but it's the second set of three episodes now on the Agents and Mystery show that Justin
Oh
recommended, which
yeah.
is completely ridiculous, by the way. I think I've already said that, but I,
I watched like the first two episodes of the first season, but we've been like doing other stuff and I
yeah,
haven't kept up with it.
it's it's a really cool concept, and much like a lot of those shows, I would love if I was on the show. But to watch these people that they seemingly picked that apparently have never even done an escape room before, beyond three episode 6 hour escape rooms, is like it's just bashing my head against the wall watching them do some stuff sometimes. Not the
Mm.
least of which, every time they find something, they're like, "I think all six of us should go up here and try to do that one thing," and I'm like, "Oh my God, you know." Didn't work. Oh, let's go downstairs and try something else. Let's all six go down and do that. I'm like, oh my God. That's frustrating. Also have been watching through, I think I have maybe two or three episodes left of season one of Castle Rock. I've been watching that still pretty steadily in the background as well. I'm really enjoying that. Don't really know exactly what's happening in the show, but it's been a pretty good slow burn. I still have yet to jump into Daredevil because I've been trying to finish up the first season of that before that. So that, and then also have been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption. I was mentioning in our chat, I was trying to wrap that up last night before my break is over here for spring break, and found an entire set of missions after the game, and then somehow after that found another giant expansion DLC apparently that's included, which is basically a open world survival story where you're going around just like killing people, but ammo's limited, and it's all these different types of zombies and stuff that are out there, and actually kind of pretty good actually. So I don't know. I think I'm really close to the end because I played that for a few hours this afternoon. And last thing I'll mention here is for his birthday back in March, my son got a 3D printer, and we have a small cache weaponry here in the house now because he just keeps making switchblade knives and flickum knives and little saw blades, and he has like a 6 foot spear and some kind of gun handle that he's made, and like
Wow.
he's I don't know, I didn't even know what you could really do with them, but they're pretty cool. Today he made like a it's a little disc that has a little tab sticking out of it, basically, and you hold it like as a dial in your hand, and then you like press the tab with your thumb, and on the inside there's like a hidden ring that spins, and then it gives you like a dice face wherever it stops
Yeah,
at. So
like a
I'm like,
random number thing. Yeah.
what are we doing here? And it's pretty cool. He's making some weird stuff, but yeah, so it's been pretty crazy. He's and it's like set to his phone too. So like yesterday he was in Chicago with my wife, and I was in the basement to like get something, and I was like, "How is this thing printing right now?" I already know the story to this. He's like printing from Chicago, and he
Wow.
was printing from Chicago. So yes, but anyway, all right. Well, we are here to talk tonight about what is the actual name? The Super Mario Galaxy movie?
I believe that's it.
The Super Mario Galaxy movie? I guess so. The second Mario movie. And this one has gotten some flack. I feel like the first one did not get, so we'll definitely chat on that a little bit.
Hmm.
I watched this on Thursday, and I think you watched this earlier today, you said?
Yesterday actually, we
Yesterday, okay.
our original plan was to watch it today, and then we found tickets for a Saturday and went to that instead.
Okay, sweet. So here's kind of the dichotomy, I guess, to start off with on this one, as we usually show some ratings that are out there at the moment. Rotten Tomatoes, critics 41%. Nintendo Life website 6 out of 10, and Metacritic critics average 36%, compared to Rotten Tomato users 89%, Metacritic users 78%, and a 4-year-old on GameSpot gave it a 10 out of 10. So putting those out there as a range for us. All right. Let's start off with our cast, since I know the first movie was, I think, pretty universally loved by members of the podcast, if I recall correctly.
As I remember, yes.
Yeah, so we have 3, 4, 5, I guess 5.5, 6-ish big characters that are back this time. So let's start with these, and then we'll check out if anybody had a performance you liked, and it's animated. But we have Chris Pratt back as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach again, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, Jack Black as Bowser, and then I also threw in Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, as well as kind of like the six that are back from the first movie. So I don't know. Performance is kind of hard to say, but any character that was particularly stand out or the opposite for you in this one?
I don't know that I would say there was one that I was like, wow, this is really good above the rest. I would say I don't think any of them were poor. I think they were all like pretty equally good. They all felt like the characters. I mean, the majority of them are voicing their the same characters from the first movie, so
Yeah.
it's voices that we're already used to with those faces. But I felt like everybody sounded, and the way things were like emphasized or whatever, they felt like the characters that I was expecting. So um I don't I can't think of anybody who was bad at the job. So I would say they're all pretty good.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think one thing this movie, it's a small thing, but I thought was better or less distracting, I guess, than the first movie was Chris Pratt, because I think when he was announced as Mario and everybody was like, is he going to have the stereotypical Italian accent or like whatever? And then he kind of does Star-Lord's voice, basically, Chris Pratt's voice. And
Right.
everybody was like, oh, okay, that's our Mario now. And this movie, like, it didn't distract me because I went into it expecting what Mario was going to sound like. And
Sure. Yeah.
um, everybody else I thought was totally fine. I did enjoy Keegan-Michael Key's Toad character interacting with another character we'll get to in a second here. And then Bowser, I mean, Jack Black kind of plays everything for laughs anyway, but has a little bit of an emotional arc, I guess, if you want to call it that, or at least a mix of different things he goes through in this film.
Yeah, a little
And
more range this time.
yeah, and I don't know if I was trying to think about this earlier, and maybe we'll get into this more later, but like, is the idea that Mario's primary antagonist is Bowser, and by the end of like the first movie, they kind of basically solved him and nerfed him? Like, is that bad for the franchise? And now he's like this wishy-washy, in this movie's like, I'm a dad, I'm a prisoner, I'm a good guy, I'm trying to be a friend, and like all these things to where I don't know, like they kind of have subtracted the antagonist from the series, I guess maybe. I don't know, I'm guessing maybe some people have an issue with that.
That I mean, for me, that leads into a larger concern question mark with this movie that maybe we'll wrap back around to that later because that's going to be
Okay.
a more a larger topic to deal
Yeah.
with.
All right, well, we have some new people joining the cast. I put down four, really. I guess there's five on here. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, so we have major characters. Rosalina, I'll read this as I have it written. Rosalina, played by Brie Larson. Star Fox, Glenn Powell. Bowser Jr., Benny Safdie. Yoshi, Donald Glover. And then I wrote as this fifth line, apparently, Louise Guzman as Wart, or Wart playing Louise Guzman. Apparently, I wrote it backwards on that one. So, which really, I mean, kind of fits, to be quite fair.
Yeah,
So.
really.
So we got a lot of new characters we're shoving in here as well. Anybody stand out for you out of that batch?
I I thought Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr. was pretty good. It like had a lot of a very emotive, like the character you really felt like they were, really kind of angry and um, had a lot going on there that was, they kind of from the voice alone kind of felt like a bit of a layered character, I think. Like there was more than just a straight antagonist, I think. Uh and I would say Brie Larson was good as well as Rosalina, though. It like I say, it's not like a major role. She wasn't like in a lot of the movie,
Yeah.
um, but I think did pretty well there with that. And yeah, I again, I don't think there's anybody in this group that I. I mean, Donald Glover's Yoshi it's such an odd thing because like literally doesn't really. I mean, he does say it's like some words, but it's
Yeah.
it's more just like sounds really than words. But I don't know either, like the process there, if they put like any kind of voice changer on him or if that's just straight up his voice. But
That's a great question.
it sounded like what I would expect from Yoshi. It sounded really good.
Hmm.
So if that's just him just doing it, kudos him, then that that might be the best performance of the movie.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. But Yoshi definitely was like a steal the show kind of a character for me in this movie.
Mm.
Particularly loved Toad's jealousy of Yoshi whenever Yoshi would show up, be like, and the dinosaur's here or whatever. Why not? You have
Right.
a new buddy here. So that was a fun little thing. I did love Louise Guzman as Wart though too. Just that was, all these it's interesting, like even I'd have to actually, knowing who plays all these characters, still kind of suspend my belief a little bit to like picture who's voicing these characters behind the scenes, except for him. When that character opened his mouth, I was like, oh, I can just picture him like sitting there in a chair doing this voice of this crotchety
Uh,
toad frog thing or whatever the hell he is. Um, Super fun though, super fun. Yeah, so this was, I was mentioning briefly in our chat online too. Apparently, when the first movie concluded, and this was from two things I read on this. One was an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto, who said Glenn Powell reached out to Nintendo somehow, like through his publicist, and asked if he could play Star Fox. After the
Yeah.
first movie came out, and
Oh,
Miyamoto was
really? That long ago?
yeah, and he was like, that's a different IP. Like we can't even get him into Mario, and took the idea, I guess, to Nintendo, and Nintendo was like, yeah, okay, well, let's put him in there. And I was like, let's do it. So they called him back up for this one, and he got his wish, I guess, essentially playing who he wanted to play. And then I read something on a different site too that said essentially like Donald Glover cast himself in the movie. I don't know if it was specifically for Yoshi, but also apparently had been begging them to like get cred with like kids or something, or I don't know if it's his kids or whose, but like that he wanted to be on the Nintendo
Okay.
movie as well. So I
Yeah.
don't know, somehow that led to him being Yoshi, which I thought was kind of endearing to both of the actors, to be quite honest, that they pressed again.
Yeah.
So
It says a lot about the property that you have people like begging to be in a movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree. Bowser Jr., yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, of the two villains, he's well, I mean, they're different, but he's maybe the more interesting of the two. In the movie. I guess it's kind of hard to compare the two because of what their goals are for both each other in the movie. But um, yeah, I don't know. And then we'll talk a little bit more about Wart and the weird planet they stop on with all the crap that they find later on here.
Yeah.
And then not just kind of another section of who's missing in this movie from the first one really was Donkey Kong and the Kong Empire. Although Donkey Kong is in the background of one little scene for like a half second, I think early in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. I was at the Yoshi backstory
That sounds
segment.
right. And then not a lot on like Mario's family, Mario and Luigi's family in this one either. But I mean, really everybody
True.
else is back. I mean, there's 10,000 toadstools, so some of
Right.
them were the same, some of them were probably different, I'm sure. Okay, so let's jump into this. I typically have been kind of trying to avoid like a straight plot recap, and really I kind of broke this down into just 10 sentences, maybe 9 sentences here. But we get a couple set pieces in this movie, I guess, and this is, I'm guessing as well, where, I mean, it's hard to talk about some of these topics without trying to, I guess, directly guess what people's beef is with parts of this movie. I'm guessing the very large cast of characters is probably one thing, which we can
I
touch
guess
on.
so. Yeah.
The plot I've heard described as like messy all over the place on a couple websites as well. Um, and then along with that plot, we have some very, what do I want to say here? They kind of broke the mythos of some of these characters as well with some liberties they made in this choice for the movie as well. Particularly some of the ladies will chat on here. So I don't know if that is part of it also, or if it is how they really blend different eras of Mario together. I don't know if that is part of it. I mean, we can kind of come back and take a guess at some of that in a bit here, but let's go through just a super brief recap of the plot. We get a pretty fun little opening scene here with Rosalina and this giant mech that comes to fight her, which was really a strong chunk of the trailer that they had released.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like some of the movies that I've been going to recently have been doing a really nice job of putting kind of those opening scenes as the trailer scenes, so it's not spoiling stuff later in the movie. And this was another one that I was like, okay, good. Like that happened right away. I knew that was going to happen. I knew how it was going to play out from the trailer. So it's done. It's
True.
over with. What's the rest of the movie about now? So I think some of the Marvel movies are kind of starting to think that way a little bit too. So, okay, yeah. So we get a fun little one there. But yeah, as you mentioned, Rosalina's kind of taken right away in this, and she's more or less a prisoner, more or less an energy source, I guess, to run
Right.
this
Yeah.
giant, what they call the Doom Cannon or something crazy.
Uh, 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 yeah. What did they name it?
Boomsday? Is it Boomsday or
Boomsday. Yeah.
Boomsday?
Boomsday Cannon. That's it. Yep. Yep.
Um, so this is kind of where her story starts, and then we're gonna have, or anything you have on that little section. I mean, it's kind of fun. We got to see some of her powers and stuff, I thought.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I would say about that segment was that like from the trailer, she like just annihilates this big robot thing like single-handedly.
Hmm.
And I was concerned that it was gonna be like they're making this character too strong. Like she's just like invincible. But the fact that she like kind of beats up on the robot, but then in the end, loses to it. That felt better to me than what we had seen in the trailer. It kind of made me a little nervous.
Yeah, she is kind of an interesting character too, I guess. Bowser, of course, has like his fire breath and stuff, but well, we are deep down the geek hole here. But like the rest of the characters in the series, more or less have to like find an external item or get a power up or something to have some kind
Right.
of special abilities. And she seems like she kind of has her own little wand that she uses and can do things.
Yeah, she whether she summons that through magic or whether it's some sort of item that is like she just always has on her.
Yeah.
We don't know, but yeah, it's definitely she seems more like a is superhuman rather than just a person.
Yeah. All right, while this is happening, we get Mario and Luigi heading to a scene from Mario Odyssey. Now, remind me, have you played Mario Odyssey or not?
Not Odyssey, no.
Okay, well, it's fantastic. You should. But this world with the upside down pyramid that was in the movie, and then all of the I'm going to call them the Spanish skeletons, and hopefully that's not offensive. But basically, what it is, it's like this little world in the desert. Pretty cool scene. They find Yoshi, who was apparently the beast in the cave that was scaring everybody in the town, which is hilarious. So that's kind of where we introduce with them, and then we get Peach and Toad very quickly going off to help look for Rosalina, because apparently that is something they think they can just randomly go and do by themselves, but there they go. As they go to do that, we get Bowser Jr. entering the scene, trying to free his father by basically stealing Peach's castle, fighting with Mario and Luigi, but the castle then gets inadvertently dropped into another galaxy, the Honey Hive Galaxy, specifically. This is with all the bees, and then Bowser, I guess, kind of proves to Mario here that he's not. What do I want to say? Like he's not being fake about trying to reform himself, I guess.
You're right, yeah.
So he kind of offers to stay there and help. I don't even know if they were doing crushing rocks or something, and
It didn't really,
why the
yeah.
why
It was
bees
just
are doing that, I'm not sure, but
unspecified manual labor.
yes, unspecified manual labor. There you go. And Mario and Luigi go off. All right. Back to Peach and Toad. They stop at a place called the Gateway Galaxy, which has probably the most little Easter eggs and cameos shoved into one little planet. And this is where they are trying to find where Rosalina is at. They do finally do that by following a monkey that steals Toad's backpack. The monkey Yukiki, which has been in a few Mario games. And essentially they go into this like kind of it was a really cool, I know it's animated, but really cool like set piece of this cube that like you could kind of all the walls were like gravity walls and it was like this big casino cave. I mean, clearly a much better location than the planet in episode 8 that had a similar casino feel to it from Star Wars. So could have that. But pretty cool, but kind of weird. Like I didn't expect to see. I don't know if they showed in the trailer, but I didn't expect anybody from Super Mario Brothers 2 to be in this movie, and much less like this whole casino was filled with Mario 2 villains.
Yeah, I don't know that I remember seeing any of that in the trailer either. So that was a fun surprise to see that it that well represented.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like talk more ahead here maybe on this also, but like the idea of how do you craft multiple Mario universe movies because I think the temptation here, and I probably fell into this as well, the temptation to me probably was to like go game by game or like set of games by set of games. Like this was called Mario Galaxy,
Right.
so I expected only stuff from Mario Galaxy 1 and 2
Hmm.
in this. But it's like full of these characters from Mario 2, and then we get some of these worlds from Mario Odyssey, and like I start to think like that is actually maybe a richer way to build these worlds because it's like showing us that when we played a Mario game, like that was just a little slice of this bigger world that he's been in, and whatever we happen to see in that adventure was what we call like Mario 2 or Mario 3, but it's like why couldn't those characters all walk around the planet at the same time? They're all obviously there,
Mm.
so
Yeah, it really had this whole segment really had a feel of like the I don't remember what they called it exactly, but like the Nexus thing in Wreck-It Ralph, where like all the
oh
video
yeah.
game characters all came together like in the power strip thing. Very similar where it's just like a bunch of different stuff all merged together.
That's a good comparison, yeah. Just needed tappers. All right. But yeah, so a little fight ensues here. Peach basically kills like 1,000 of these little ninja guys and
They
somehow
just
all of the
slaughter
mini
them.
bosses and gets the location from Wart out of that. So, all right, let's see. Then we have a brief scene here, which I don't have a ton of details on, but essentially we'll call it the babies and T-Rexes phase of the movie,
Sure.
where apparently the Super Scope 6 gun turns you into a baby now, I guess. I don't know how that works,
Okay.
but we got who? Baby Mario and Luigi. Was there a third one? Toad?
Toad was briefly a baby, yes.
Toad was? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the giant scary T-Rex also from Mario Odyssey also turned into a little baby
Mm.
T-Rex as well. Adorable. All right. All right, and then basically the rest of this is the push to the end of the movie, which is our six characters now. So Mario, Luigi, Toad, Peach, Yoshi, and Star Fox, who has joined them as a pilot, eventually end up at the Comet Observatory, which is basically like Rosalina's little island home castle thing. And this is where we get kind of the weird revelation of the movie, which is that Peach is Rosalina's sister.
I had questions that I mean like I've played a bunch of the Mario games, but I've probably like half at most. Like there's a whole bunch of them that I haven't
Yeah.
played. So I didn't know if this was a canon thing within the universe already, or if this was something they made for the movie. Um, it it wasn't a turn off for me, like in the sense of, well, that can't be possible. But it was kind of like that's we've never had any indication of that before, have we? So it's like
Yeah.
it kind of came out of nowhere.
It was strange, and apparently, did I also understand this correctly? They're both made of stardust. Is that also where like even though they're sisters, like what's their origin still? Like there was some
They never got around to explaining like where they came from, how they came to be on this world that they
yeah.
started off in. Uh there was, I think, a little bit of, yeah, like some sort of Stardust connection there, but it really wasn't described.
It's kind of weird. I know there's Mario games I haven't played either even, but I mean it's just kind of strange that this is the route they went for this, especially after the first movie where, Peach kind of says, if I'm remembering correctly, in the first Mario movie directly that, Mario and Luigi are like, well, you're obviously not a toad. Like, where are you from? And she's like, I don't really know where I'm from. Like, just
Right.
kind of always
Yep.
been here, and I expected that to, in a future, excuse me, in a future movie to go to like, she was from Earth and like has a backstory there, but maybe they don't want to spend as much time on Earth as possible in these movies and
Hmm.
went a different route. I don't, it's just kind of strange. Um, it's strange, like to create that as the legend and the lore within the movie universe, but it's also weird to be like, Rosalina clearly knew that this was her sister since she sent her to the
Right.
Mushroom Kingdom and apparently never once visited or told her sister that they were sisters, even though she's watching her from afar and reading bedtime stories about her.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't go down that hole really too far, but I mean, there was a sense of she had to make yeah, she had to cut the ties completely so that no one could take advantage of their combined powers,
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's true.
but still, it was I wish there'd been more there of like something like a why you never come find me kind of thing, and
Yeah.
like she had to explain it. It was kind of like left out there to kind of put together the pieces yourself.
I was kind of curious also. There is the and I was reading some of the plot summary here when I was typing up these notes, and I had forgotten that the part where they like basically split up and separate, there was like someone attacking them, but they never showed who that was. That was like trying to get them for their powers, and they like never show. I think they show like maybe the back of somebody once, but they never show who that is,
Oh,
which I had
right.
totally glossed over until I was rereading this plot recap, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like they kept a little secret in here without me remembering it.
Yeah, because that scene is uh, like pretty like action focused. So you're like you're intent on what's happening, and she sends Peach down the pipe, and there's just lots going on. So you don't really have time to think about who this person is. But yeah, I can't remember anything specific about it.
It's interesting. I mean, I was just checking a Reddit thread as I was mentioning that, and there's pretty good rogues gallery of people who they think it could have been. So I mean, I guess that's open for
Hmm.
interpretation for future designs. I also did not know, but I found this out reading some other website or review today that apparently the plot of Peach being her sister, it does not appear in any video game, to be clear, but
Okay.
apparently actually was the original plot design for the first Mario Galaxy game.
Oh,
So that is
okay.
actually what they had intended, but then they did not go with that in the video game series. So
Gotcha.
kind of interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's see. We get the big final fight here on the Planet Bowser, Bowser Jr. and Bowser, who's, let's say, kind of warily working with his son because he loves being a dad against the Mario Brothers and their allies here. But essentially, we get kind of a fun little battle scene. Bowser's turned into bones when he's knocked into the lava. Nice little callback there for the video games.
Hmm.
Fox leaves to go back to his planet. The sisters put their power together, kind of green or morph the whole planet into like a nice hospitable place instead of the terrible planet they had designed. And at the end of the movie here, Mario's rebuilding the castle. So that's where that is all at. And then I'm assuming you stuck around for the post credit.
So this was a
Oh,
funny thing that happened earlier today. So we stuck around for the first post-credit scene and didn't stay to the very end.
who knows?
But we watched that very end scene here today, this evening. So,
I thought there'd be something because the first movie, that was where they had the Yoshi. I mean,
oh
literal
yeah.
literal Easter egg was at the end of everything was his little cracking egg, and then this one we have the monkey Yukiki again stealing something but getting stopped by a new character. So they're kind of almost following. I know the MCU does it as well, but they're also kind of following the like Sonic the Hedgehog movie blueprint here, where they're like, and then there's this other character from the franchise.
Yeah.
Princess Daisy shows up, so now we have essentially what, three princesses, and there was like a brief in, was it the first movie I just rewatched this week? I did rewatch the first one before I went, or if it was in this one, but there was someone that looked like Mare Paulina from Mario Odyssey also, who was like the girl
Hmm.
from Donkey Kong that
Yeah.
Mario saves, but she was in one of the two for like a quick little news clip she was doing. I can't remember,
I think the first
but
one.
I kind of wish like that they had made Princess Daisy look different. I mean, it's very accurate to the games how she's looking here, but like
Right.
it really makes those three princesses like stereotypical princesses with how they look.
That's true.
A little variety of some way, shape, or form would have been fun. Maybe she's like foul mouth. Maybe that'll be her. Uh,
That would be
Movie
great.
three, she's like getting bleeped all the time. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, that's basically the plot. And then let's chat on just a couple. There's a lot, just like there was in the first movie, of Easter eggs and cameos and little secret hidden things in here. And I didn't write any of those down, but is there any you saw that you want to call out? I got a little list here, but
Um, I did like the Super Scope 6. being that that was one that caught my eye right away because that's one thing that I had for the Super Nintendo. And it was kind of fun to just see it in there and use the way it was. Um, this one, for as many references they had in the first movie, I almost feel like they managed to put more in this one. I think in part because you had especially the one like the casino galaxy planet thing, whatever, where it was just like so much going on
Yeah.
I feel like you could watch that like 20 times and not see everything that's in there. And I bet there's a ton of stuff hidden that I just completely missed. Um uh and also I feel like the first movie um did a lot of like classic references, and then this one kind of like went deeper into the game library. So there's a lot of things I think that I was assuming were references to games that other
Okay.
people would be like, "Oh wow, yeah, cool, I remember that."
Yeah.
That like completely I missed because because I hadn't played those games.
Yeah, that's probably true. There, especially the first movie had a lot of, yeah, like you're saying, like the 8-bit references, right? Like Wrecking
Yeah.
Crew and Punch Out and some of the balloon fight, I think was the one. There was somebody on like balloons.
Mm.
And this one maybe had more, or like a mix, I guess, maybe of different eras all kind of thrown in. Yeah, I thought there was a lot of cool stuff in here. I loved Rob the Robot as the like directional. It
That
was
was
almost like a
that was
one for
great.
one gag stolen from was it Zootopia where they have the sloths that work at the DMV,
Sure. Yeah.
but still a funny bit, and then they interrupt him and he starts over and they're like, trying to get the information out of him. Love the Mario 2 stuff we mentioned already. Like, I don't know why, like, as a kid, when I had Nintendo Power Magazine, the little mouse bag guy, Mauser was like, he was
Yep.
like the coolest bad guy in the magazines because he had sunglasses. That
Sure.
was
Yeah.
it. Just a mouse with sunglasses. But I was like, oh, that guy's so badass. Oh my God. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, a lot of stuff here from the Mario Odyssey games as well, the Mario Galaxy games. I'm not going to go into all the worlds, but at the where was it earlier in the movie? They had the little pinata of Bowser that was like the 8-bit Bowser.
Yeah. That
That
was
was
fun.
cool. Fun little one there. And then they also had the when Peach and Toad like leave to go help Rosalina, and Mario and Luigi are like, we'll take care of the kingdom while you're gone, and they have the like little almost kind of like Super Mario World-esque map that they're like planting flags
Yeah.
on as they're like putting the fires out
That
all
was
over the
fun.
place. That was a
I
really fun one too.
I guess this is a good enough spot to fit this in. But like the fact that they lean so heavily into it being a video game with different references, like that with the map, like from Super Mario World, or when they just had literal 8-bit sections where they like, you know,
Yeah.
like Bowser and Bowser Jr. like watching Mario and Peach like on a screen, and the screen is 8-bit, and it's like literally watching a game. And they did that multiple times through the movie, and it felt good. It felt right that they did that. It wasn't like, to me, wasn't over the top or wasn't like cheesy. It was like that's kind of the way it should be for me.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of warm, fuzzy feelings from some of this stuff as well. I forget, did you ever play any of the Pikmin games?
A little bit, not too
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Had the one little rocket that opened on the planet there and the little Pikmin walked
Yeah.
out, which is another, like, I mean, who cares because it's Pikmin, but it was like another crossover still, from like the
Hmm.
Nintendo world, which I didn't fully know that. I mean, it kind of makes sense because a lot of these properties, I would think they're probably not ever going to take it far enough with Nintendo to be like, Pikmin get their own movie or TV show, So
Yeah,
it's like, why not
I
throw them
couldn't
in the
imagine that.
background scene in one of these
Sure.
and give them what they got? So I didn't catch, but I did see on the planet with all of the crap as well. You were talking about somewhere on the buildings, there's like Super Nintendo controllers and Nintendo 64 logos somewhere in there. And
Yep.
like you said, I'm sure there's just a ton of stuff. The Mario Bowser axe fight on the bridge over the lava, of course. Played
Yep.
any of the
A great
original
callback.
games. Luigi gets the paintbrush and then creates Mr. Game and Watch, and I was like,
Because he can't
what?
draw better than that. That was a good joke. That was good.
He didn't do the sausage throw though, which is what I was hoping, but that's okay. Still good. What else here? All of I'm not going to get into all these either, but all of the like hats and power ups and stuff that they find on the way is, from all of the different games through the years, all the different powers
Mm.
they have. The giant queen bee, she's from a couple, I think at least one of the games. I don't remember. I don't remember. It's the bee galaxies from Odyssey or Galaxy or I don't remember. And then also the let's see here, the dragon from Super Mario Odyssey, which is like the weirdest creature in that game because it's all pretty stylized, but also kind of realistic looking for Mario art style. And then they have this one dragon in this one stage, which is just like hyper realistic, badass looking. And you're like, this does not fit in this game and is kind of creeping me out right now. But he
Gotcha.
was
Yeah,
there. And then I had, my bad, forgotten about this after I watched the movie, but I loved the little Star Fox team backstory cartoon that was in there.
that was fun. Yeah, they
Yeah.
changed the art style for it, made it kind of like an anime kind of looking thing.
Yeah. I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool too. So, all right. All right, let's keep cruising here. How about, well, I just kind of touched on this, so we'll just kind of continue on, but anything as far as sound, music, or animation in the film?
Uh yeah, a fair bit to say here. So I would say, the first movie looked incredible. This one is absolutely as as good or better. Just such beautiful animation, and just the colors and everything was so clear, and it just looks really good. I love, like little musical callbacks they threw in there, like when they went into the pyramid, they only started playing like the original Mario dungeon theme.
Mm,
Even it was only for like a few seconds, but it was enough,
you
to
knew what it
like,
was, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, and I don't, as far as like the whole score, soundtrack, whatever you want to say, I don't have a lot a lot of, like, I can't think of scenes where I was like, the music was really sticking with me, but the callbacks with different things that they've had in their games over the years was enough for me to enjoy what they did with it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, absolutely. Like the Mario franchise, however long they keep this going, has some strengths, right? And this is kind of playing into maybe some of this future discussion as well. But there's a zillion characters in the games, but not a lot of main characters. So that's going to be an interesting point to get to. Music for sure. I mean, they've had how many stages in Mario games at this point? I don't even
Mm.
know. Hundreds.
So many of them are unique
Yeah,
musics
and you
too.
could you could pull out music forever or locations forever. So that's all pretty good. I don't know. I'm looking at a website article here because I remember the first movie, if you recall, had like "Aha Take on Me" and like some of these really popularized songs.
Yeah.
And this one only really on this website. This is NME.com. I don't even know what this is, but they only really have Notorious B.I.G. Hypnotize, which I
Okay.
think
Yep.
was
Remember
done
that?
instrumentally, wasn't it? Am I right on that? I don't think it had words in this. I think it was just the music.
I That sounds right. Correct. Yes.
Dean Martin, That's Amore, Jack Black, Peaches again, and The Bar Case, Too Hot to Stop. I don't know that song, but if you played it for me, maybe I would know that one.
Rough top. Yeah. It's I don't know the way that goes off the top of my head.
It felt like there were more watching the movie, so that's a little. I mean, that's all they have are those four,
Hmm.
according to that at least, which seems.
I'd believe that. There wasn't there, like you say, in the first movie there was multiple scenes where like they had a famous song stuck in there, and a couple times it actually felt almost like it out of place. But
Yeah.
I didn't notice that this time.
Okay. Yeah, not much to say on this that you already haven't already touched on, but I just think again it was so smart for Nintendo to choose to work with Illumination to do these movies. Like if you can't get Disney, then it's one of those two studios,
Hmm.
that seems to do everything now, and they do a great job bringing the characters to life, the vibrant colors and Everything looks really crisp, like you said. Um, yeah, I just think it looks very pretty on screen. Music was also awesome. Even like we talked about earlier, dialogue and sound effects and the little clips of music, like you said, everything was really good. I mean, presentation wise, I guess what I'm getting at, like you said, very good, very strong in this movie again.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into maybe our two more fun sections here tonight then. Let's talk about why is this movie getting all the hate, Brett? A 4-year-old
Um,
gave it 10 out of 10. What's the problem here?
yeah. Should be choosing you going with his
Right?
opinion and everything, clearly. Um, I haven't like taken time, and part of that is because having just watched it yesterday, I didn't go previous to that. I didn't want to like see anything to spoil myself. So
Yeah.
I haven't gone and looked into complaints, but I know like we had in our group chat had had brought this up, the fact that critic scores are so low on this. Um so I was aware that there's definitely some criticism out there. Um I mean, if I had to guess what it is, it's people who are trying to who want this movie to be like a serious movie when it's a video game kids animation movie. And um like I would say as well, like you mentioned this point earlier that the plot kind of feels messy, and I absolutely I really do agree with that. Like it feels like it kind of just jumps around. Like you're going from like an action scene, and then like, okay, quick jump, new action scene, jump, action scene, and how they get between those is a little sloppy and like kind of disjointed, I think, at times. But I don't think that's like they weren't going for like a this big storytelling adventure. It's just like a bunch of like fun action and characters and humor, and it's not what they were going for. It was like a masterpiece of storytelling.
Yeah, I would agree on that point as well. I think I'm sure the plot has to be a large portion of why people are just like this movie's all over the place and it's no good and blah blah blah. But I kind of agree with you, and obviously maybe we're a little biased here because we're the two that are here watching and reviewing this. Nobody else
Sure,
decided to
yeah.
join us, so maybe there's that as well, which just means we give it a 10 and we screw all them. But anyway, um, there is a little bit of just, when I went into the movie and then came out of it and I thought about it for a little while, I was like, did I get what I wanted out of this movie? And yeah, I got what I wanted out of it. Like I smiled the whole time. I laughed in the appropriate spots. Like there was a little emotional part here and there with like particularly Bowser and his son.
Yeah.
Um, it looked great. It sounded great. Like the plot, as wacky as it was, allowed us to have some of these other characters come into the story. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, you could probably argue Star Fox wasn't needed in this, but like it was a chance to throw him in there, and why not? Like he's there for an adventure, and he was basically the Donkey Kong of this movie, and now he probably won't be in the next one if they make another one. It's like,
Right.
and I don't know. I don't know if the cast of characters is another beef that people have. Just, I mean, we're talking one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine major characters, let's say, in the movie, which is a lot to split, for any movie. Screen
Yeah.
time enough for 9 characters, particularly ones that don't have a deep plot line, or like an in-depth look at who they are personally.
Hmm.
Which again, we get a little bit of that here with the Bowsers and maybe a smidge with Rosalina and Peach, I guess. We got a smidge of that, I guess, with Mario and Luigi and their family in the last movie too. So I don't know. I think they did a fine job like balancing it. If they had made, you know, either a movie where the whole thing focused on Mario and Luigi, which is despite all these characters being in the universe, that's what the games are, is just them going on the adventure and beating the
Sure.
stages. People would have complained that there wouldn't have been enough representation for the female characters, or that these, side characters didn't get enough time to feel developed, or so you couldn't do that. And then I guess also like we don't no, like I don't need 20 minutes of screen time for Yoshi to make him feel like he's in the movie if I'm getting only 20 minutes of Mario in the movie, you know what I mean?
Mm,
So if it all kind of worked, it's a little messy, yes, but it's just like I don't know what you want to make a comparison to this too, but like a good, like Long Island iced tea. You just throw all that shit together, mix it up, and it tastes good. So that's kind of what this was. Um, I don't know, and I know that I was trying to think what else people could have a beef here with. Maybe the fact that like Rosalina's really heavily promoted in the trailer, and then like is basically sidelined for most of the movie until they
maybe.
get her.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they'll have time for that later. Um,
Yeah, I would have to go back and look at specific criticisms, I think, now at this point, because I like I say, I just held off on looking at that, so I don't actually know what they are.
yeah, that's great. I mean, pacing, I'm seeing pacing out there for a lot of people. I mean, it's yeah, this person summed it up well right here. See, it says, I heard pacing's a big problem. The next person said, two things can be true. It's a fun ride for Nintendo lovers and Mario fans, and by the standards of cinematic storytelling and writing, it's subpar.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, that's objectively, it has problems. Subjectively, it was a lot of fun, I think, is
Mm.
kind of what we're saying here. Okay, wanted to ask you, where do you think, or where would you like this? I guess we'll call it a universe, a franchise to go in the future. Where do you think we're going to head? Do you think this is going to have legs to do more films like this, or do you think we will get like maybe like a Donkey Kong spin-off movie before we get another Mario movie, or Star Fox now instead before we get another Mario movie? I'll tell you, when I stuck around for the end credits on this, I built it in my head, I guess, and I shouldn't have, but like 75% thought the movie's end credits was going to end with Luigi getting an invitation to a mansion that he won, and it was going to be like we're heading into Luigi's mansion for the third movie. And I was like, all right, that's cool. It's going to feel very different.
Yeah,
It's focused on the ghost, like it's going to be different than these two movies were, but that did not happen. Doesn't mean it couldn't still be the case, but
true. Yeah. Yeah, I when you said that, I was like, man, that would have been great. And obviously we didn't get that, but um I think so I mentioned like early on when we were talking about characters about how I had like a criticism with the movie. I think this is the appropriate place to bring that in.
yeah,
Uh it what this movie felt like to me was a movie that you would typically see in like the fourth or fifth iteration of a series where they're like, we're running out of things to do. Let's just make something crazy and like cram as much stuff in and just make it like a fun ride. Um, and that does concern me a little bit. It's kind of like, well, where do they go from here? Like, they could. I mean, there's nothing saying they can't just go back and like have another movie where they just do like a regular adventure that's not so grand and not out in the entire galaxy and hopping around. Something that's a little more condensed. Sure, they could go back and do that, but the fact that they already went here, it's the joke that I made with my wife on the way home was like it's Fast and Furious in space. Like they've already gone to space. Like where do you go next? You got nothing to do. So
Manhattan, of course. Oh wait, they already were in the Bronx. Never mind.
yeah. So where do they go from here? I'm not sure because it feels like they've gone too far down the line already to maybe may go back and make it make sense. But I'm not sure. There's nothing saying that they can't go back and tell just a more slower paced story, but it seems strange that they went so big this time.
Yeah. I mean, that's a probably fair criticism. Even the first movie, I guess, if you kind of go back and just look at options they could have saved, like that first movie threw in a little bit of Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, and like, like a Mario Kart could have been the major plot of one of these movies. Like for
Mm,
whatever wacky reason, Mario or Luigi has to like become a racer to win this
right.
thing.
The
This is,
fate of the world's decided by a race
yeah.
for some reason.
And
But
now they kind of have dipped into that. Which you're right. They're kind of borrowing everything and just throwing it in there to visually, maybe spectacularly make the best movie they can, the most explosive movie they can in the moment. But yeah, I have
yeah,
concerns as well where it goes from here. Just again, because there's I don't even know 30 games in the series. I'm guessing I don't know, but like essentially they're all the same. Like it's them stopping Bowser or something, and to play that it's fun because even though some people probably say that's not fun, but like at least it's a different game. It's platforming, it's
yeah. They have all
RPG,
new
it's
worlds
whatever.
and new mechanics,
Yeah.
and
So it's fun to play, but you can't, I mean, you can't watch the same movie 30 times, play
right.
out exactly the same. So I don't know. Um, unless, I don't know. Unless they are going to like use this to just branch into a Donkey Kong movie and then a Star Fox movie, and then they come back for like Mario 3. I mean, maybe they're I don't know. They got to have a Luigi's Mansion movie. That'd be fantastic.
If I yeah, that feels like it'd be great.
That'd be a fun one for
Yeah,
like 3D
a whole
glasses
different
too. Just like
vibe,
like
right?
a flying at your face. Yeah, that would be really fun. Or maybe, I was trying to think of how they could adapt that to keep. Well, I guess Mario gets captured in those games. That's kind of why Luigi's more or less by himself. But
Yeah.
I was trying to decide if they would be bold enough to actually give Luigi like not only the title of the movie, but also like be the character that's in the movie as well. Maybe now, I don't know. I read somewhere today that this only cost apparently 111 million to put together,
Wow.
which
Okay.
I mean for a
That
cartoon,
sounds low.
yeah, that's what I thought too. And I was because they were like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna make another one because it's only well, it's already like the fifth highest, I think, animation or something crazy. It's at like 375 million or something already. And
Wow.
I'm like, well, that's already it sounds like a pretty good return on investment. I'm sure they must have marketing up the wazoo for this movie,
Sure.
but I would
It
think they're going to make money.
it occurs to me that because it's Nintendo and they they do some interesting business things, it would not shock me if they're not planning to do a bunch of these movies. Like maybe one more and that's it.
Hmm,
Despite how much money they can just shovel in with these, they might not plan to make a whole lot of these movies.
that's a interesting point. And you are right. Like they do make some weird decisions sometimes, where rather than like make six of these and drive it into the ground, they're like, "Yeah, we did three, we're good."
Yeah,
Or yeah, it is weird. I don't know. I mean, it took them. We talked about that on the last podcast, but it took them so many years to like release a Mario movie
hmm,
after the terrible whatever it was, 91, 92, 93
yeah,
film. But like it is weird because they do all these business practices to like make as much money as they can on their consoles and games, but like continually, and I defend them nonstop, but continually make boneheaded decisions where like they could just print money and they
hmm,
don't do those things. I don't understand.
yeah,
Like, I don't know if, I guess they're protective of keeping their quality or something, but like I would have some show on Netflix that's licensed, and I would have another one to Amazon, and I would have I guess they have well, they do have a live action Zelda movie they're filming.
right.
So that's how they went with that. I would I would guess, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say I would guess Metroid maybe would be the third one that they'd kind of keep as like a ace in the sleeve, kind of
Yeah,
third
that's a
property.
major IP in their
Yeah.
library. So I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't eventually do something with it.
Yeah.
And they haven't referenced it yet in any of these movies yet. So
That's
it
true.
feels like they're saving it for itself.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to assume there's gonna be more movies coming. I mean, they're smart. They would strike with something different, I think, next, which is it's not going to be as big. right? Like, just put that out there. If they did Star Fox or Donkey Kong or even Luigi's Mansion, probably it's not going to be as big as the Super Mario Brothers movie, but
Mm.
it could still be really good business, I would think.
Yeah, I'd be pretty darn surprised if it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could do something good there. Okay. Boy, I don't know. Anything else on future? It's so hard to predict what they're going to do. I mean, but yeah, definitely, as we mentioned here, some concerns over, even though they have, 30 games plus of material they could pull from, at some point, like pulling obscure background villain number 27 and putting them in. Like, I saw one website, somebody had paused a screen and was like, look, I saw this one guy who's in this one stage of this one game. And I was like, no, that's cool, but like, it's not a big thing. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, despite how many games they have to pull material from, like they've would would you say they've already referenced more than half of them in some way?
Well, I mean,
I mean, like you had obviously, original Mario
yeah,
2 and 3,
yeah,
Super Mario, the Galaxy movies, Odyssey,
yeah.
like that's a large chunk of the
That is,
Mario
yeah.
library.
I mean, I guess
And
they could,
there's, other stuff they referenced that we just didn't catch.
yeah. I guess they could go a different route and do like Mario RPG or Paper Mario, or like find some way to make those versions of Mario be a Mario movie.
It's true.
I don't know how that would work. Like, you do a Paper Mario movie and totally change the art style, I guess, just for something totally different if you wanted to mix it up. Well, I don't know, and this kind of goes back to the other thing I was saying earlier, which is like, if Bowser is nerfed or not motivated in this movie universe, then
Mm,
like, where does the franchise go for antagonists and problems from this point forward? Like, there's the Koopa kids, I guess, from Mario 3 on their little airships, but
yeah.
beyond that, it's like Bowser's in almost every game. Bowser Jr.'s in a couple games, and they even threw Wart in there, who's Mario 2. So, like,
Yep.
who is the villain going to be in the rest of these? Donkey Kong was already used, and he's a hero in this universe. So,
Hmm.
I don't know who they're planning to bring in that's the bad guy here.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I mean, by the end of this movie, Bowser's back to being the bad guy. So I think they could just bring him back as the main antagonist, I think, and not have it be weird. Um, but like again, like having him be switch and be the good guy usually is a thing you save for later in the series.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a second movie kind of thing.
They
So
could have went. I wonder if maybe, do you think there's any chance Nintendo made that first Mario movie and genuinely like were unprepared for how well it did? Like, do you think they just were like, let's make the best we can do because we don't even know if we're going to get two of these in? And then it like blew everything away, and they're like,
well, I
oh,
guess we gotta make another one now.
yeah.
And then didn't have ideas.
Yeah. I mean, then we're like, well, we kind of screwed over Bowser, and now we got this. I mean,
I honestly, I'm coming back to like the idea of the Nintendo having odd uh business practices sometimes. I That would not shock me that they didn't even plan to make a second movie.
yeah, it's it's
I could
weird.
see that.
They do some weird things sometimes, I will say. That's for sure. Um, yeah, they need to just go crazy though. They could have so much fun with like Death Race 3000 style F-Zero movie set on another
Mm.
planet with like Tom Hardy's got to be in there somewhere, and they could have, I don't even know, they could have so many movies though. You do a Doctor Indiana Jones style Star Tropics adventure. You could throw one in there.
Mhm.
You could do so many
Right.
things, but uh, yeah. Anyway, okay. Well, let's get to final scores on this, I guess, then, unless you got anything else you want to throw in.
Uh no, nothing major.
Okay. Sounds good. Um, I can go first on this one. I had a number, I switched it earlier today, and now I think I'm gonna go back to that other number. Um, So for me, I think just briefly, it was a lot of fun. I watched this with my son and daughter. My wife probably would not go to this. So she probably would if we made her, but she's not an animation fan, period. But we had fun. We laughed. We thought some of the characters were fun. Some of the little references were really fun. See, now it's weird too because they're obviously 30 year. I think my daughter's, we figured out 30 years younger than me right now until I have my birthday this year. So it's weird. She's like a third of my age for the only time, in our lives that that'll ever happen because we'll switch up here quick.
Yeah,
Um, but it's weird because like to them, Mario Odyssey was like, and it was like 7 or 8 years ago that came out.
it was their
But
growing
like,
up
yeah,
game.
that was like their Mario 2 or something. So it's like they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I remember this part, and I remember this part, and I was like, oh yeah. So we had a lot of fun though. It was really enjoyable just to see all the stuff on screen and all the little Easter eggs and everything else. I thought Yoshi was a really fun addition to the cast. Definitely one that needed to get there eventually. And Star Fox was a weird inclusion, but I wasn't against it. It was just kind of weird to wrap my head around a little bit. So I'm going to put this one at a pretty fun. I don't think it was as good as the first one for a lot of reasons we outlined today, but I definitely don't think it's as bad as some of the stuff online is saying about this. So I'm going to go with a blip higher than I was earlier today and put this right back at a nice even 8.0 for me.
Okay. Um, yeah, there definitely is more in this movie that I find as a criticism or concern than the first one. The first one was close to flawless for me in adaptation and story and characters and all that stuff. Um, and there definitely was things. There was a point I would say like a third of the way through the movie, I was thinking to myself, "This is not very good, is it?" Like, you know, but at that point, like things hadn't really ramped up yet. It was still kind of like we hadn't gotten to like a lot of the action and the fun references and the humor and so it was still coming, but there was a point where I actually did think, I don't know if they're doing a great job with this, and I was like, concerned that the rest of the movie was not going to be good. um so that's definitely a thing. um I part of what made the first movie really special was because it did have a strong story. It had, Mario as an underdog and like trying to prove to his family and other people that like he's not just some schlub,
Yeah.
worthless plumber guy, and rising up and winning, almost like like we talked about Rocky recently. Um, and this movie didn't really seem to have a strong story like that to really anchor it. So it really had to lean on lots of fun characters, lots of fun action, which the action was great. I think a lot of the scenes where they had action was really well done, like the animation choreography, however they would phrase that. Building the action scene and how it plays out, a lot of those were really good. I thought like it looked visually great and it was fun. The characters were great. There was a lot of enough humor for me to feel like it was a funny movie. Things like at the end where Bowser is like in pieces and a bunch of bones just scattered about, and he's getting Bowser Jr. to like go find his parts and put them back together was hilarious. I love that. Um, so there was a lot of really high points in this movie. Um, but I am concerned that they made it like too big, too quick. Um, and I'm not really sure where they go from here. And so despite really enjoying the movie and the time I had there with my family and laughing and having those connections where like my son was sitting next to me and like for example, like when Bowser falls in the lava, like he immediately said they're gonna do Skeleton Bowser like before he even came out. Like
Oh,
he could
okay.
figure, he pieced that together, and so we had that moment and shared that. It was really, there was a lot that was really really fun. So I absolutely enjoyed this movie, but I recognize that there's some concerns. So um I'm actually going to land a little higher than you because where I'm my feeling on this is that it's while it's a less adult oriented movie, it's I feel like they made it just to be fun for kids, really. And on that level, they did a great job.
Hmm.
So as a score on this, I'm going to fall at 8.25.
Okay. 8.25. Oh, okay. We didn't even mention, but I love the returning super gloomy, depressed Luma that was back
Yes.
also. I love that character. Oh my God.
We had a lengthy discussion on the drive home about that character's like origin. Like, how did this character get this way?
Yeah, right? Who is this? I love that character. That's good. All right, well, we got here. So 8.125?
2.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8.125. Had to come up with the hundredths to make me do math here. I see what's going on. Okay, so still pretty good. I mean, that's we're on the higher end of the review spectrum than it sounds like. So 8.125, not too shabby. I mean, that's a pretty good score, all things considered. We've reviewed a lot
Mhm.
worse than that this year, so.
Yep.
Um, okay, sweet. I guess that's it for the Super Mario Galaxy movie with us. I don't know where we're headed to next week. I don't think we have anything we
Mm,
picked back out again. We
yeah.
gotta sketch things out. Have you seen, I was gonna ask this off the air, but I'll just throw it on at the end here while we're recording. Have you seen I know you guys are big TV show watchers, but I don't know if you guys
Yep.
are big movie watchers or not. But
Sometimes.
Did you and Miranda catch the new Anaconda movie?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I saw a preview for it and I had totally forgotten that that was a thing, and I was like, look at this cast! Oh my God!
That was
So
an interesting movie.
I was just looking at that to be like, I was actually thinking because we had watched the Roadhouse versus Roadhouse, of going back to watch the first Anaconda movie and then the new
Yeah.
Anaconda movie. Just I
That
know I think they're like
that would
tonally
be
a little bit
fun.
different, but
Very
it's
different. Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that would be a fun podcast to check out. So
That could be. Yeah.
we'll have to do some chats and see where we come up with on that. But all right, anything else from you tonight, Brett?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's it for us here then at the Fawn Pod. Friends occasionally not disagreeing, and we'll see you all next time.
See ya.